the user.
Yeah.
Only user.
This one here.
Yeah,
I'm having user here as what I inject here. So sorry.
okay. That no, that will be the user object, no?
Yes.
Actually,
What will be?
there will be actually no, there will be user request, right?
Yeah, that is
Yes.
the.
No, I think in one place so you've done differently. No, one second, let me just see.
That will be the user object, not
Uh,
user request.
It'll be user object, right? Okay, correct.
Yes.
So then actual getting, so where will he, this question is then like where will he, like this user by ID method is supposed to be called from the controller, right? Not from here inside the service.
Yeah. Yeah. Since we have this as a service already,
Hmm.
right? How we calling? Why should we call a service inside another service here? Rather, we should just call it in the controller level. But however, calling it in the
And
controller
then,
level, it is
hmm.
also going to return something
Hmm.
if we check the user is available or not. So, for example, if I want to do this here, let me just give an example.
Yeah.
If I say user should be equal to user service dot
Dot
get
get by user.
get yeah get user by
No,
ID.
find user. Let's find user by, user by ID. Yeah, correct.
Pass the
So
ID.
I pass ID here. Then should I be now checking for if it's not the user? That's check if there is an
Mm.
exception, then return something. I don't know
Uh,
if you get my point.
yeah, you don't
Return
need,
something.
no, you don't need to do anything. The system will handle the exception that's being thrown, right? It will convert it into a JSON error response. So you can just proceed normally because what happens in Java is, right, whenever an exception is thrown, so this line number 55 is throwing an exception, and if there is nothing that is like handling that exception, it is thrown, your the next line your code, line number 56, will not even get executed. So you don't need to worry about, that's the reason you don't need to worry about anything.
So how do we return
Hmm.
a response stating that this is what's it called? Okay, it doesn't get here. This is when it's successful. That's when it gets
Yeah,
when it's response. Okay.
and we need to convert, right, like we need to map it. So we need to, like, now you need to, like, you got the user object. Now you need to call user service dot update and pass the user.
Oh, Hiren,
Hmm.
you
uh,
think update also internally check whether the
hmm.
ID exists or not?
Update should check whether the ID exists or not. Update should check, right, like update
Yeah,
should throw an error.
yeah. Then this line number 53, 55 does not require, no?
No, 55 is actually doing the check, right?
Yes.
Yes, this file is in the checking the user exists or not, and it's throwing an error if the user does not
Hmm.
exist. The next line, which should is going to be the this one user dot update, right? Update
Yeah.
Yes.
user should now, this is where we should now be passing something like this user,
Hmm.
right? And maybe give you ID,
Hmm.
to passing the ID of this user, something like this.
Hmm. Let's try it out, right? Like, let me just, like, I think this is a good question. We can just do this in. Let me share my screen. I'll show you guys how to do it. Okay. So what do we have? Okay, we want to. One second, did I do any changes here? Okay, so we are implementing update of the user. So we need to write then. So this will be not a post method, but this will be put method. So we'll do put mapping. We'll use this annotation called put mapping that Spring Boot provides, and then we'll write the same thing, user ID. Uh,
Correct.
okay, and then let's write the method name public. This we are saying that will return a updated user, right? So user response update user, and then you need to pass, yeah, the same thing, path variable you need to pass, and and then you also need to pass what you want to update, right? So I must see, generally whenever you are doing put method, what happens is you send the same the entire entity you will send here to update. You will not update a single field. So that means you will be sending user request over here, right? So you are
So
saying that
here-
on this ID,
here.
yeah,
Chance the user request does not contain.
Huh.
Go to user request.
User request, okay.
ID is not here, na?
Yeah, ID is not here.
Full. That is not full.
Yeah.
Because ID auto generated.
Right. So now to update, we'll have to call the user service, right? So we'll just say user service dot update user, and we'll pass it the ID and user request. So now here is the question, right? Like, do we send the user request or do we? So okay, one second. Let me just think about this. So we're sending the user request. What are we doing when we are creating it? What are we doing? We are kind of calling the mapper to convert this into user object, and then we are sending it to this guy.
Correct.
So similarly,
Because we did just because to test the for the integration testing, and
Yeah.
so that we can use the user service.
yeah, correct. So we can do the same here. I think we can
Yes.
get the user from the mapper. We can convert this to this, right? And then we can pass this user to update user. So we'll pass the user and the ID.
I thought we'll be also checking for the user first. That's find user by ID. Right?
So that, let's see. Yeah, let's see. I'm just thinking about it, so I don't know where I'll put that right now. Let's see. So here, right, see, we are not retrieving from the database. The reason we are not checking for that is we are just converting the request object to a database object. That's all we are doing over here. So it will not give any error. This is not even looking up into database. The database lookup will do inside update user. So right now I'm expecting that I'll call this method, it will update the user and it will return me back an updated user. That also will, let's say, updated user, right?
Correct.
And then we'll say
We
return
can copy this line,
the same line, right? Yeah.
and that status will be
And we'll send updated user here, right? In the this one. And status code, what is the generally this thing for put? What is the standard put response code? That is
That's
also
200.
200, right? So
Yeah.
okay, so okay, we'll say now what is this saying? It is saying that okay, so we have not actually the same response. Actually we can automatically also do this, like IntelliJ, and if you do alt enter on this, will it do it? 1 second. I think it's not able to get it. Okay, so we'll convert this to correct response entity, and we can say this is a user response, I think. Yeah, so this code is there. Now all we need to do is implement this update user method. So now to implement update user method, what we can do is we can just click on keep the cursor over here in this word, and we can click alt enter. So then IntelliJ will give us this template saying create method update user in user service. We just click on that, it will create a empty stub method, and here you can change whatever, like it is giving us like template kind of thing, right? So you can do tab if everything is correct. If you want to change a variable name or something, you can change. Let's say I want to give user, instead of user I want to give a, right? I can do that, or I can just do tab, I can go next. So now we are here, so we need to call the, so now we need to what do we need to do? We have got the user object, so we need to find the user, right? And do we need to find a user? I'm just thinking, or we can,
Is there anything?
yeah, so user repository doesn't have anything called update, they just have save methods. So in Spring Boot it's a common thing For creating and updating, both it's the same thing. So
So
it
do
will.
one thing. Do
Hmm.
one thing.
Yeah.
Now create one user object and
Yeah.
set that user to the
So
setter and getter.
so we already have the user, right? We just need to change the ID, like that's all, right?
Yes, sir.
Just ID we just need to change to whatever is the new ID. And then we can just pass this user object.
No. He's updating. He's
Hmm.
not going to update the ID. He's going to update the some other field. ID will be remain same.
No, no. So this user is not coming from, see Anuj, here, this mapper is actually just converting whatever they are sending in the request, right, in the JSON
Okay,
body.
got it,
That is
got
what
it,
is this user.
got it.
So that's why I was saying that everything we are updating, we don't need to worry about anything. So we just change the ID. Like in create also, if you see, right, what are we doing here? Like we have the user, we are just setting the ID, adding the companies. But here in this case, we are not even touching the companies or anything. So we don't need to worry about that. We just do this and save this. But now another part you guys were asking about was this, right? That how do we know, like, where do we put the check for whether it exists or not? So that we already have, which is kind of throwing an exception. We are not interested in its result, what it's returning, that we are not interested in. We are just interested in making sure that it does this error check. So we'll just call this as a condition here, user by ID. We'll refactor this if like this doesn't look good. But for now we'll just put this, right? So this will check. We are not like interested in what it's returning. And here we'll just return from here. So the saved user object we are just returning. Okay. Now we can try this out and see whether it's working or not. You guys have any questions on this, like Marcy or Anuj?
No.
I think we'll see.
No.
We'll only be able to see like whether it works or not by trying it out. So let me just run this. I'll run this from here only. Oh, I think I killed the process. Okay. DB already exists. Okay.
Actually, this one is just read this.
Uh-huh.
I'm sending a blog.
So one question here, then, when we are
Hmm.
doing this user.set ID,
Mm-hmm.
right? Are we not trying to create a new ID?
Mm-hmm. No, so we are not creating a new ID, right? This is an existing. So whenever they are calling the API, they will send the existing ID of an existing user. And
From the
yeah,
parameters.
right, yeah. And then we are checking here also whether that user by that ID exists or not. If it doesn't exist, we are throwing an error. So okay, let's try it out. It is started. Oh, I think we can just try it out from here, right?
How
The-
does Spring Boot know that this is a update or a create?
How does Spring Boot know whether it's update or correct? Is it? So Spring Boot basically knows by the primary key, right? So it knows that if by primary key it exists, then it's an existing object. So that is using the primary key. Because if you see here, right, in the user database object, we have declared that this is ID, primary ID column. So based on that, it will know. Okay, where is that Swagger page? Okay, so get users. So first we need to get the user and then update it, right? So let's see in the database. Select. Not sure whether we have any users or not. Okay, we have some users. Okay, we'll try out the first one, admin@test.com. Try it out. Okay, so we got the response back. Now we'll try to update this user. I'll just put it here so this is also giving you an example of like what all is supposed to be passed. So not everything is supposed to be passed, right? So we'll remove the things which are like not needed. So ID is not needed.
Creator
Mobile number is fine.
not needed.
Yeah, I'll remove those. Created, updated are not needed. Mobile verified is there. Name, email ID is there. Password is not there, so password we can remove. Recruiter, manager ID, companies, role, all those. No, I think role is there, right? So we'll just send this many things, and we needed to. What was the other thing? ID also we needed to send. So send the ID in the path. Okay. So right now let's try to update the name as test May2. Execute. Okay, let's see what's saying. Okay, so it's giving an error saying that there's some error it's saying. Okay, let's see here.
What is the error?
Yeah, let's see. So it's saying created at null value in
Not
column
null.
created at. Okay, I see why.
Because I think
So
it's trying to resave the value again.
yeah. So because we are not making any database call, right? So that's why it is happening. So I think we need to use this existing user object only to get the user.
Just I have sent you a blog.
Okay. Where was that? 1 second. Where did you send it to us? Slack, is it?
Slack.
Spring data, partial data update. Okay. But this is for patch, right? Like what if you want to do patch instead, they're saying. But we are doing a full update. So in HTTP there are two things, right? Like you want to update just single field, then you can use patch request. But if you want to do full update, you will do put. So this one, from what they're saying, it looks like they are doing patch. You can see the controller also if they have given one. So he's also doing kind of same thing, no? He's like finding it out first and then updating whatever is the this thing and saving it. So yeah, but we also need to do the same thing only. So we already have that user by ID method.
Yes.
So what we can do is we
Exactly
need
the
to
question I was, exactly
yeah
the question.
yeah.
We need to
So
map to everything. Now when we get
yeah.
to user by that user find by ID, are we now doing for example
And in the same thing, you
existing user dot name
Yeah.
and all that?
Yeah, I think we'll have to do that. If you guys know any better approach, like let me know. But I think we'll have to do that. We'll have to update like everything that we are getting in this user object, right? Or there might be some kind of, I think Mapstruct also maybe we can use.
yeah. In the same blog, they
Hmm.
have used the map.
Mapstruct is it? But we need to convert user to user. Is there, have they given anything for that? Mapping, what are they saying? It is common to use a DTO pattern. Yeah, they're saying hundreds of phone fields. I think that could be pretty unmaintainable using Mapstruct. So this is converting a customer DTO. But okay, what is this? The update customer from DTO. Okay. Mapping target customer DTO, customer entity. Mapping target lets us update an existing object, saving us the pain of writing lot of code. Okay. Bean mapping, what is that? Let's add it to our update customer from DTO method interface. So they are doing mapper. Okay. They are doing mapper.update customer from DTO. I think we can just use this.
Yes.
Drawback of this approach is that we can't pass null values to the database during an update. Okay. What else are they saying? It is essential to keep it simpler. Custom query. I think this will serve our current need. I think. Only thing I did not understand was what was it that they are talking about here. Let's add it to our update customer from DTO. Okay, this is the mapper interface. Okay, so Mapstack has a bean mapping method decorator that lets us define a rule to skip null values during the mapping process.
During the mapping.
But I think this we don't need to apply, right? Because we are saying that pass entire entity only, because they are doing patch actually, so that's why they are skipping the null values. But we don't need to skip this, so this we will not need to apply. We'll just need this thing. Let's copy this. So we go to our user mapper, right? So in user mapper we'll add a new method, update what is this, user from DTO. So DTO here is a user request, and mapping target we can import, and this we can write as user. Okay, and then we need to import the mapper over here, right? So mapper I think we can just inject, right, Anuj? Same like, or do we need to use that pattern, instance one? Like in controller how we are initializing the mapper, right?
Yes.
We are initializing. I think we'll just use this for now. Maybe later point we'll change this. Okay. Guys, I think there is some background noise from one of you.
So we are avoiding the mapper here, no?
What?
So while writing the test cases, we are supposed to not use mapper here, no?
No, there is nothing like that. Mapper we can use anywhere. Mapper, only thing we had discussed was that during the test basically we are not mocking the mapper, because there is nothing necessary to mock mapper. It's not making any database call or anything, right? It's doing simple mapping. So no need to mock mapper. If you want to mock mapper, then we'll have to do this, like we'll have to inject it. But we can take it for later discussion, I think, Anuj, if required. Okay, so for now, user mapper dot update user from DTO. So okay, but this will require user request object, guys. So we'll have to pass a user request also to here.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you.
Acha. So then we can do it outside and send it to this guy, no?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I'm telling this thing in this controller level.
Okay, so then we don't need the mapper. Okay, so we'll do it here. Where was that update user? Mapper user mapper dot update user from user DTO. So DTO is user request, and this is our but here also no. So what will happen is we'll have to find by user also. We'll have to move it outside only actually. So only thing will remain is here only. Everything we'll have to do here only. So existing user we found out. So we'll have to do user service dot that user by ID. So this is getting existing user. Okay, so this is not required, right? See,
Yeah, that is not
this is
required.
not. We don't need to convert or anything.
Yes.
So we just send the user request and we send the existing user.
Yes.
So it will update all the values basically. You understood, right? Like, so mapper is basically updating all the values from this. It will take values from this and it will put it on this object.
Yes.
Okay. And then what do we do
Pass
here?
the
So we don't need to pass even ID, no? To service we can just point the user object, that's all.
Yes.
So update user signature we'll have to change. What is the problem here? There is existing user name. Okay, so we can also see how is it implementing. So anytime you want to go to so this is an interface, right? So anytime you want to go to an implementation, you can always do Control Alt B in this thing, IntelliJ.
Control Alt B.
Yeah, actually let me see if there is any plugin to show the shortcuts while I am printing the shortcuts, so that will be useful for you guys. So shortcuts. There is some plugin for that. Present as an assistant. Okay, let's install that. Okay, install now.
Apply.
Okay. Let me see if it is showing there. Okay, it's doing some scanning. Okay, yeah, now it's showing, no? Here you can see.
Okay. Is it?
Yeah, one second. So we'll do Control Alt B, but what is it saying? No implementation found. Okay, so that means it is not generated yet. Because this thing, if you see, right, this is an interface. So this entire thing is being done, generating the actual implementation of this interface is being done at compile time.
Yes, yes, yes.
So we'll need to build. We can even build the project from here. We can do this build project, and then we can try it out. So here, if you see, right, it is building it. So after that, this will become available. So you can do Control Alt B, or also it is even kind of showing an arrow going downwards, which means that there is an implementation of this method somewhere. So we can click on that also. And if you see here, right, it is passing DTO and the entity, and it is changing all the attributes in the entity from the DTO, mobile number.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, so this is, I think, very clean. I think this is nice.
Yes.
One question here. So
Yeah.
when we compiled this from the implementation we wrote in the user mapper, right?
Mhm.
We wrote in the user mapper.
Yeah.
This is automatically generated when we compile, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are using this library, as last time I told you guys, right? This library is called MapStruct. So that MapStruct library, they have implemented it in such a way that whenever the code compiles, they will generate an implementation of this mapper.
Okay.
Right? So now if we go back to this, we are getting the existing user, updating it from the DTO, and we are passing back the updated user to the user service. So let's run this and see.
Sorry, one question.
Yeah.
If you go back to our controller,
Sure.
here we have existing user. Please can you check the user service also?
Okay.
Oh.
So we have removed all the code. Yeah, we just removed all the. We're just calling the repository. The reason we did this, right, was because, like, if we do it in the service, then the problem is, see, the thing is kind of service we want to kind of not pass any this kind of objects like user request. So in the service we want to pass it the database object only. The reason why we want to do is so the service can be reused from multiple places inside the code. If we kind of do a coupling with the user request, then it's coupled to that user request. In some other place, they may not be even passing user request, right? So they will unnecessarily need to create a user request instance and all. This is just a data that we are getting from the API JSON. So in another context where maybe they're in a cron job, they are using this user service, right? So that it doesn't make sense to like pass this kind of user request, which is like very specific to the API. So we are keeping the user service very generic by like accepting only a database object. So that's why we are doing all this logic in the controller. So this is like, if you see, right, this is not kind of actually a business logic. This is just kind of some kind of plumbing, like mapping logic. So that kind of belongs to a controller anyways.
Yeah.
So okay, let's try it out. Okay. So sorry, I went to Postman. Okay, we'll try the same thing. I'll execute that again. Okay, so this time we got back the updated response and everything was updated. and we can even check that in the database. Let me do select all from users. So what happened? This
The last
was
one.
last one, right? It got updated, yeah. So you can see created was like this thing, and updated it is the latest one, today's date. So, yep. So to summarize, right, like what we learned is like we first found the existing user, and then we
Yeah, I think this
Hmm.
one, line number 49 is a
new one, right? Yeah, this is a new learning. That's also. Yeah, so we found the existing user, and then we use this feature of the map struct, like mapper, to convert basically the DTO, like not convert but copy over, basically to copy the data from the DTO to the actual entity. So we give it two parameters. Like generally we give like input and then we receive an output, right? In this case we kind of passed it the like the object from which to copy and then the actual object. So and this it is not returning anything, it's a void. So it is mutating basically this thing.
correct.
Yeah, Anuj, you add anything?
Nothing.
Okay. So okay, so and then we basically updated the actual thing, and internally if you see we are just doing user repository dot save. So save knows to like not create a new user because the ID is the same, the primary key is same. So in Spring Boot, like there are no like in like Hibernate, sorry, not Spring Boot, but Hibernate ORM that we are using, there are no like different methods for updating. It's like your responsibility to get the existing object and then change and pass it to save. So, and then finally we are converting the updated user to the user response using the mapper. So that was that. Yeah. Any questions?
Okay,
Yeah.
can we try a scenario for pagination once
Mhm.
with users?
Sure. So you're saying we'll implement a get like users list but with pagination, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sure.
The write a comment there.
Here?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are doing get mapping and our path is the same, users,
Yes.
and we are saying public. So now what this will do is it will return a, actually let's not return anything here for now, we'll just keep it void, later we'll give the return type. Get users is the method name, there is no parameter, and then what we do is right now, just to make it a little easier, right, I'll also import user repository here, then we'll move it back to user service. I don't want to go back to user service right now. So user repository for time being will import, add constructor parameter. So we are injecting the user repository also inside the constructor, and using that we will get the pagination thing. So while you are doing the pagination, right, I think you will have to take one parameter,
Yeah.
that is your pageable object.
Yes.
So that we can say that can be passed, I think, in the query string. So you can just do this pageable. Yeah, you were saying something, Anuj?
You see, just check what is inside the pageable. What is the that object type? Different type of object key.
In pageable, no?
Yeah.
So in pageable, there is page, like whatever the getters, right? Basically, that will be the properties in your JSON.
Yes. Page number, page size,
An offset, yeah.
What
Sort.
is the sort?
So sort is also a kind of an object where you will, you can see this, right? So there is a direction, like whether it's ascending or descending. That is also one of the.
How to pass direction? ASC, how?
Oh, 1 second, we'll see. I'll show you. We'll do it like we'll actually implement it only. So
Okay.
we'll see. First, let's implement the simple one without sorting, then we'll do that. So here we can do is pageable. We'll just take as a parameter, and then we'll do user repository dot find all, and there is a version which like takes this, right? So we'll do use that, pass the pageable.
And the question is line number 42. The pageable will come from which? From request params or from which?
Yeah, so it will come from query params. Let me just open up one of the project that I've done before. One second, I've done the same thing. Where is that? Recent project. So pageable, it seems you don't have to give anything. It will automatically treat as a query string parameters.
Query string parameter.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this is all we have to do, and we have to return back also, right? So for now we'll return the database object only, just to like test this out, right?
Okay.
Or we can actually convert this also. What do we need to convert? We need to convert it into a user response, right? So actually there is a map also on this. So we can map and user. We need to convert this to user response, right? So user mapper dot, what was that? User to user response. User to user response, right? So what is it saying? Provided page of required type. So here the type I have not given correctly. So if you see, no, it's complaining because earlier I had written page of user, but now map is converting into user response. So I just need to change this to user response. So this will become a page of user response. So page basically will be returning a page. So first let me just copy this line. We'll go inside page also to see what is there inside the page. So we are returning the users, and this is telling us that make it return this. So we are returning a response entity which is a type of page of user response.
Yes.
And if we see what is there inside the page, you can see this, right? So page is like, one is like total pages, that is the count of pages, how many pages are there.
Yes.
Then another is like total elements, how many total elements are there in that page. And the third thing generally is the actual object. So that I think is probably there in the super class slice, I guess. Content, if you see here, right?
Yes.
So that content also will be there. So
Just run it.
yeah. So we again have to restart this. Okay. Go to our Swagger UI, refresh this. So okay, let's see. So there is a new route that is coming, get users, and this is also, if you see here, no, they are also itself kind of decoding like what do you have to give in request parameters, and this says query params. So we'll try it out. We'll just make a default request. We'll not change anything.
A zero. Size. What is the size?
Size is like how many limit. So we can give 20.
20. That is the error, no? It's the fault.
Sort.
The sort, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So I think this should be ASC from what I remember long time back. Yeah, that's correct. So if you see here, right, this is the response body you are getting. I'll just
No?
I'll just take it into some this thing, so we can see it little like better. Take it into my JSON editor, and also yeah, one more interesting thing. No, anytime you want to kind of like put like in IntelliJ, you want to put something into like some temporary file. What you can do is you can do shift to search everywhere, and then there is an action called new scratch buffer. So you can use this new scratch buffer, and you can put your JSON. Okay, but it created a scratch buffer of text type which I did not want. I'll just use the direct shortcut for buffer. So Control Alt Shift Insert is the like shortcut for this thing.
Okay.
So we can create a JSON file and put here and properly like format and see it. So here what you're getting back, if you see from the top level, is like this. Which one? So this sort one, they are saying like empty true, sorted false, unsorted true. So I think maybe we gave the wrong key or something. I'm not sure about the sort thing. Other things, if you see here, there is a content. So content is like nothing but a list of user objects that we had, right?
Okay. What is the total page? Is that
Ha.
total count?
I'll go to that. Yeah. Which one? In this one? So total elements, yeah, this is a total count basically. So in database, if you see, right, we only had like 4 objects. If I do count here, right, you will easily see that. So we have 4 user objects, so that is total elements. And this is saying it's the last page basically. Last is true. First is also true. It is first page and last page both, right? Empty, false, and then there is also pageable object also inside this. What is that? That is also kind of giving, I think, the saying it is paged response is true, and I think some extra information they are like offering. Page number 0. But yeah, basically this has like entire all the information, like if you want to implement on your UI, if you want to implement paginess, and right, everything that's required is there.
Okay.
You guys have any questions? Marcy or Arjun, if you're there.
No, I think we should just go back to the code again.
Shrek, here?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we injected the pageable that we created.
Yeah.
Okay. So send it to pageable class.
Here to pageable class.
Yeah.
So pageable is their interface basically. It's from the Spring framework.
Okay.
It is under this package, and they have like these are the whatever are the getters basically, right? That's what we are kind of sending, page number and page size. So if you see here, we made the request. Let's go up, but actually it's called page and size and sort over here. It's not called page number and this thing, because they must have implemented it a little differently. I think there was like there are implementations also of this. So I think it's so kind of, we don't need to go too much into that detail also. This is kind of documented in there, like what you need to, even your Swagger is giving you, right? So
Yeah.
no need to like worry too much about that. But yeah, it's a domain, like it's a Spring Framework object. So
However,
hmm.
one question is, how are we getting the query params? Like I'm not seeing where we are injecting the query params.
Query params, right? So it is automatically, basically Spring Framework knows automatically whenever you're passing pageable, it's a query param. So that is kind of, it's doing its magic basically. Yeah. I think, but this is an interesting question. So I want to try out something else also. Let's see if we can implement our custom pageable, right? Like whatever is there, we'll just create a custom like class from this. We'll not even like, let's see if that also works as query params, right? Like
Okay,
Uh,
okay, got it, got it.
Let me write one class here.
You
So
mean you will pass the custom
class, then also does it work as a query param without declaring anything? That's what we want to see, right? So let's say custom page. Well, I'm just creating like one plain class, and I think we can give data Lombok annotation on that. Because we want to expose some properties, no? I think like the, like prior.
Okay.
You got no? Let me see.
Give the
Can we
test.
inject?
Uh-huh.
Give the
Sorry.
that anything test or something.
Yeah, just give some like private string test.
Okay.
Test param, I'll call it.
So I was trying
Yeah.
to ask, can we inject more than one decorator?
Uh-huh.
When we are passing in as data, can we also pass more?
We can give as many decorators as we want to give.
Okay.
There is no limit on
Will it be
that.
on the same line or just independent?
It'll be a new line. It'll be a new line. You can give like uh, value, or there are I think many other like things like that. I think this Lombok will have to take a separate thing. That's a bigger subject. But for now, we'll just assume that like we'll just take this custom pageable thing here instead of this pageable. Uh, so that we'll just like right now just to test. Let me just not touch this. We'll write a new method to test this. Users new. We'll return like something custom pageable. We'll just return that same thing as a response.
Yes.
Return.
Are we having a class inside another class?
So what does that mean? Meta.
Online 63, you have a class.
Oh yeah. Oh, that
As a
one.
class. Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. We can make like
A
a
class inside
class
another
inside.
class.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we'll just return this and don't even need anything for now. We'll just return this. Just to test out this hypothesis, right? Like, so let me start.
Is it necessary to pass the HTTP status, or it is optional?
It is optional. Like, I mean, if you don't need, it'll by default it will send okay. I think you don't need to.
Okay.
Let's refresh this. So users new thing is there, right? So we'll try it out. Hello, I'll say, and it is returning back the hello, right?
Yeah.
So I think it knows.
It knows.
That anything that like you are passing without anything annotation or in decorator, it's a query param. That's what it's assuming.
Okay, okay.
At least in the get request, right? I think if we change it to, let's see what happens if we change it to post mapping. I don't know. Right? We'll try with post mapping also. Then what will it think? Is it request data or request body? Like, generally we are giving request body. No, we are not,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No, we are not. Like, if it is post mapping, then we are actually giving request mapping without also any annotation. So I think it will get confused about this, I think. At least it will not be query params is what I think. Let's see.
Why?
Because here, no, if you see in update user also, you are passing the request body, no? This is the request body, and you are not declaring anything. So it is considering this as a request body.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
okay,
if
okay.
users new is users new, let's expand that. So what is it thinking? But here it's thinking it's query param only. Okay. Does it work? What is returning actually?
Yeah,
Okay.
very weird, man.
Okay, here also, here it says that it is request body. Input, what is it thinking? Oh no, so okay. So I think we have been like not done this properly. Like in put method at
You
least.
have not defined anything.
So then it's a query parameter.
Query parameter.
Yeah. So
That
enter
is
it.
our.
Yeah. So you need to then give like this thing request body annotation. If you give, then it will think that it's a request body. So we can try this here. Now if we try. Yeah, so now if you see that users new, yeah, now here it knows properly that this is a request body actually. I think this will also still work. Oh, it actually gave an error. Okay. I don't know why it gave an error. I think that is because of this thing maybe. What is that? Saying like non-static inner classes like this cannot be instantiated using default no argument constructor. It's telling that like this is an inner class, right? So you cannot use it like this with the post method or request body. You cannot use a inner class. So I can move it to a different file if I want to work. I think we can create one new class here, custom bay. You can try it now. Yeah. Okay, so now it's working. But yeah, basically like what we learned was right. This the main thing was this that if you don't give anything, it's a code.
Yeah.
Someone saying anything?
No, I was telling you, if you have not defined whether that is request body or request path variable,
Yeah.
that assume as a query parameter.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So that is and another scenario, what will be the, and there was some interface what called as CRUD something, no?
What is that?
Oh, CRUD repository or something. That was on top of the JPA repository.
Yeah, so that is here. I think we'll go maybe into detail, we'll go into later. But yeah, it was this one. So if you like declare repository REST resource, right, on this, like in this case, you can see that there are some company APIs. You can see your company entity controller. Like there are get, post, put, delete, patch. Everything is implemented for companies.
Okay.
But if you see in actual code, there is nothing called company controller actually. We have not even created a company controller.
Okay.
Here if you see, in company's resource also, if you see, there is nothing. There is only entity, repo and services. That's all. So then how is this API coming up, right? So that is coming up because we have used this thing called repository REST resource.
Okay.
So this is a Spring Data REST kind of framework that is there. It is coming, I think, from, let's see.
Okay, that is the next thing.
Yeah, that's the next thing. But I think this will not use this pattern much, but maybe later required if we can go into this. This kind of automatically, if you just decorate with this repository REST resource, it automatically creates all the CRUD APIs.
Okay.
where you don't need like much of. But disadvantages, you cannot extend this, right? Because if you have business logic, you cannot extend this. So it's not a very useful thing as such. Okay, so now, okay, you guys have any like anything in mind that you want to implement for today? Like we have done get update, and I think we have not done delete, right? Delete and
Not
patch.
delete.
Delete also we have not done. Patch also we have not done.
Yeah.
So we can do those as well if you guys want to do it.
Yeah, do one thing for let's say in the right now what we did, we change. Right now we are using the in the this one for the update.
Mhm.
Yeah? Right now in DTO we are means in the existing user
Yeah,
we are just copying all the that
all the fields.
all the fields
Hmm.
in the this one current
Hmm.
user.
Hmm.
So what if we don't need all the fields to copy?
Yeah, so that is
We
called
don't want to copy all the fields.
correct. So that is called a patch request, right? So that's a HTTP
Yes.
patch request. I think we have in the Node project. I don't think we have used it anywhere, right?
No, we don't. We have not used.
But you can see here like that auto-generated patch company. If you see, I think you can send only whatever is required. So we can try. I think what you had sent was this only partial data update patch. Okay, they have not given the controller over here. Okay, we can try it out. So patch mapping, users ID, same thing. Now let's write the same thing first. Patch user, and let's say we are sending user request only. Then if you remember right, what that guy had said was like on the mapper there is a definition you can give like which will ignore basically the null properties. So we can try that out. Bean mapping. I'm not sure where do we have to add that. I'll just add it here for now. Okay, so in patch user we'll use that same thing, update the existing user, and everything is the same. Okay.
Sorry, for patch user, I'm just thinking, since it's patch, patching is could be just maybe one or two values.
Two values, right?
Yeah. So why don't we just inject a straight that set the values rather than going to the map and all that?
But you don't know which values are null and which values are like not null, right? Like how do you know like which value they will be sending? They could be sending one or more values, right, in patch. So we can probably Spring patch. You can see some example also. Maybe let's see. Spring Boot patch example. Okay, what are they doing? You have some entity, some DTO, would be operation key value. Okay, so they are actually kind of sending, okay, this little different. They are sending the key and the value, which is the property like you want to update and which value you want to update. And they are calling something called partial update in the service. They have not even shown the implementation of service. Okay, this is not a good example. Okay, what is the use case here? You have a customer and the telephone number has changed and they added new item to their favorites. We need to update only the telephone and the favorite fields of the customers. So we're saying that put replaces an entire entity, it's not a suitable method, so patch is not handy. Okay.
No, Jason.
Patch customers 1 2 3 4 content type description of changes. Okay, so here also they are sending something called op, so I think I'm not sure like whether this is a standard format or not. The format used, okay, JSON patch. Okay, I think this might be little like more complicated, guys. I think we may want to cover it in the different video, I think, because
Okay.
we're debating. Yeah, right. So okay, I think patch will do it. Then what else? Delete should we try and implement?
I think that will be simple, no? That will be based upon the ID or something.
Yeah, I think you guys can try it out. I think there must be a method to delete the object. So there is a delete, right?
Delete,
You
yeah.
guys can try it out. Like I think that's an assignment for you guys. And
Arjun is not here, Girish.
okay, I think he left for something. It's okay. We are recording the call, right? So it's fine. I think he had another stand up or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the next thing we should cover?
You guys tell me, what do you want to do? Mercy, you can think of anything else?
Yeah, we could cover relationship for database.
Relationships, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. We can do that. So we can even like first like go through an existing example that we have already done of the relationships. I can just walk you guys through that. So for example, I'll just show you the data model first. So in the template we have like a table called companies, and then we have another table called users. So there is a relationship between companies and users. So a user, where is that? One second, company users. So the relationship, this little complicated relationship, but that's okay. So we have company and user, and there is a third junction table called company users. So what this means is, right, like in company user there is company ID and user ID. So that means that a user, like single user, can belong to like multiple companies, and also like a user can be in one company or multiple companies. This is what it means basically.
It's like a many-to-many relationship.
Yep. This is a many to many
Yeah, this
relationship.
is a many to many. I
So
think we should cover
simpler one, one to
yeah,
one.
one to
Okay.
one to many.
Yeah.
Then we will
Then we'll
switch
do
to
my,
many.
yeah, I think this is the most complicated like relationship, right?
Yeah,
I think you have done the simpler one somewhere, no? In employee ID and company ID you have done, no, Anuj?
yeah. The company and employee, yeah.
Huh.
One to many,
Oh, employee many to one, okay.
yeah.
I think we can do one to one also first, no? How do you do one to one relationship? So you have, what's a good example of one to one relationship? This Aadhaar thing, like we had done our training module, is one to one only, right? Probably.
Yeah.
No training. Where is the training? So like there is one user and they have like one Aadhaar, right? So that is one to one. So what is the diagram that we have given here? There is the Aadhaar card detail and user has a Aadhaar ID.
We can implement.
Okay. Yeah, this looks good. Okay. So, okay, got it. Okay, so user will have to create another table, right? Called and we'll also have to add, so to user we'll have to add Aadhaar ID, and we'll have to add another table called Aadhaar card details. So let's add the migrations for that. So first we need to alter the table, so we'll just write that v9, we need to increase the version number, add
And yeah,
other
ID.
ID to, what is the table called, users, users table.sql, and we'll write alter table users. What is the syntax? I don't remember the syntax. Let me just Google.
I'm thinking it's the other way around.
Uh-huh.
Rather than having, I'm thinking it's the other way around. Rather than adding an other ID to the user table.
Okay.
You're supposed to add the user ID
U-
to the other
user ID to the other table, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also had the doubt in mind. I think, yeah. What is the?
Yeah, that will be simpler.
Okay, so in Aadhaar, you guys are saying we'll have a user ID. Okay, and user will not have the Aadhaar ID. So if you delete, actually, if you delete an Aadhaar before deleting a user, you can do that, right? Otherwise, if you do this way, then you cannot actually delete the Aadhaar if you want to delete it. So that is the advantage of what Mercy is saying.
Yeah, that is the correct way.
Okay, okay, let's do that then, yeah. So we just need to create a new table then, right? So in that case, so I'll just delete this. Create other table, Aadhaar card details. Okay, I think I rename. I didn't increase the version number. 2009. Create table Aadhaar card details. So we'll have ID and we'll have created at, updated at, what are the other things? Aadhaar number, and I think name is not required in Aadhaar, right? You just need Aadhaar number.
Only the Aadhaar number.
Yeah. Okay, so that is like, what is the data type we have given here? Varchar only. Okay, so I'll keep it text only. I'll just modify this to Aadhaar number. Is this correct? Spelling Aadhaar number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
correct.
Aadhaar number, and we need to now add the relationship. So that we need to add references. So user underscore ID, UUID not null, references, users.
User.
Is this correct? Do we not have to tell like which? It automatically knows that it references the primary key, is it? I think so.
Oh, why?
I think it's showing red because I'm not kind of, maybe I'm not connected to my database here. That's okay. It will run the migration. Like in IntelliJ, you know, every like SQL files they are connecting to the database schema, actual schema.
Okay.
But we know that user table access, right? So it's fine. Yeah, now we need to let's actually run the migration only to make sure that migration is correct. Okay, so it created, if you see here, it created the Aadhaar card details table. We'll check here also. So it added a new table. If I do details for the table, you can see that it added a foreign key as well to the user's ID.
Okay.
So database table is created. Now we need to create an entity. So for that we already written a script to create an entity. We'll just use that from another terminal. Create entity Do we need to create a resources folder also, right? So actually I'm not sure if I've done. Let's try this actually. Aadhaar is the resource
You
table.
have to create resource folder.
I think it will automatically create. I think I have put that check maybe. I will see. That's why I wanted to try out without that also. Aadhaar card details. So this is the class name. The first argument is the class name. Second argument is the table name, and third is the resource folder. So I'm just giving Aadhaar for now. It automatically created Aadhaar folder in resources. So we'll just go there. Aadhaar card details.java. So it is adding up like whatever is required, annotations and all. And we just need to add a new column that we created, right? So called user ID. So we'll not add okay, let's see. Let me just see how we have done this in other
We don't need to write.
right column, right? We just need to, I think, give like
Yeah.
just do this for now. You can say 1 to 1. So there is already a annotation that's present, right? Called 1 to 1. We just use that and we give here the user object. So this is done. 1 to 1. Okay. Now what do we need to? We need to write an API to create the Aadhaar, right? So
Yes. First create a repository.
yeah, so I think entire folder structure we'll have to create. So I'll just use that create resource thing. Okay, it's saying file or exist. Okay. Okay, I think the scripts I think we need to improve little bit. So okay, for now what I'll do is I'll just delete this. What happened? It created the folders, huh? Okay, it said it cannot create directories, but it created all the folders. Okay, cool. So okay, what are you saying, Anuj? We need to create a service first, huh?
No.
Repository first.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll just copy from some existing repository for now. It's employee repository. Call it other repository. Other repository. Aadhaar card details. Okay. And yeah, I need to add a controller as well. No? So we'll add a controller and then we'll add a service also. I think we can add a service now actually to create the other.
Right now.
Let's create. Okay. Okay, cool. Other controller. So this also will just copy some code from this. So it is REST controller, and I think validated and transactional we will skip for now. What else is there? Employee controller. That's it, no? So we'll inject the this repository into this other repository. And now we need to generally, like what if you guys have seen, right? Like what we have been doing is whenever you require any dependency in your controller, we don't kind of hard code it, we need to inject it via constructor. So you can easily do this via shortcut. So if I do alt enter, I can say add construction parameter. Say I don't know, like in controllers I'm not sure about using Lombok because I have not tried it earlier.
Controller?
So because this is a controller, no? This is a REST controller.
Yeah, you can use.
This one required as constructor, you're saying? Okay, we'll try that. Yeah, it's a good one. Okay. You have tried it in some other controller, is it?
Yeah, I have tried my controller.
Okay, good. So Okay, now what else? I think just for Mercy's reference, right? So like earlier, like Mercy, if you see here, right, we used to add like constructor, but now what Anuj is saying, there is a annotation called require args constructor, which means it
That
will
is a Python
automatically,
memo.
yeah, so it will automatically kind of implement this constructor for us. We don't need to kind of write this. We just write the field and it will automatically add that.
Okay, but this one here, this one we are injecting here, this is okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how you see, right? Like at the mapstruct, like at the compile time, they kind of add things similar to that. This will add the constructor to this class automatically, which has this as a parameter.
Yeah.
So okay, now we need to write a post mapping. So in post also, okay. So we need to return. So we need to create the first of all we need to create request and response entities, right? So what we'll do is, where did this go? I'll just copy this, add this to request. Author card request. We don't need all these things. Okay, let me just open one of the existing request. I think it's better I copy from here. Where is request? Delete this. So Aadhaar, we'll just call it Aadhaar request to keep it simple. So in Aadhaar request, what will we send? We'll just send the Aadhaar number, right? And okay, what is our route like in this documentation? We're having users ID and Aadhaar. So user ID is already there in the path, so no need to send that in request. We can just send Aadhaar number. Aadhaar number. We'll make sure that we are calling it the same in this also. What happened to this? You not added, I think, Aadhaar number to this. So we need to add column
Aadhaar number, yeah.
string. We can call it private string Aadhaar. What did we add in table? Aadhaar number. Just convert this into our camel case. Aadhaar number. Same thing we need to put into our request. Aadhaar number.
That's
Okay,
correct.
so request
Only Aadhaar number.
is correct, right? Yeah. And response also we need to create. So Aadhaar response. So in response there will be like two more things, right?
Yeah.
One is your
ID.
ID will be there. So private string. No, it's a UUID, right? So UUID ID. And
Aadhaar number
Aadhaar
we
number.
need user also.
User. Okay. Do you want to return user or user this thing? User ID or entire user? Is there any requirement on this? This is saying get users ID Aadhaar, create Aadhaar, and this is get Aadhaar for a specific user. Okay, so there is no like existing requirement is not there, but we can do that.
Yeah.
For now, actually, let's keep it simple only. I think let's keep it ID only maybe. But okay, what you're saying is okay. Let's worry about that later. Right now, let's not even add that.
So I'm telling why we need
Huh.
for which Aadhaar card.
But you already,
Card.
but you already have that, no? In the request, you know that you are sending it for this user only.
Okay. Okay.
So, we can do that. Let's add. I mean, that will be little more complexity,
Yeah,
right? So
let's
add that later. So other request and response we have added now. We also need to add a mapper. So Mapper also, let's copy from somewhere. And generally shortcuts wise, if you see, right, if I want to go to any class or file, I generally press a shortcut. Like if I want to go to a class, I can press Control and I can press, like, I can just write the initials of the, like the camel case, right? So if I want to search for employee mapper, I can write E in capital and M in capital, so it will give me the exact class to navigate to. So employee mapper, and we'll just copy this class, put it into our Aadhaar mapper. And yeah, we just need to change this to Aadhaar response. Okay, and then we have to and actually this method names can be anything. We don't have to give Aadhaar card details. We can just say Aadhaar to other response also. We can say Aadhaar request to Aadhaar. Okay, Aadhaar card details, just clear it. Okay, so mapper is also done. So return mapper request response repository controller. Yeah. Yeah, Moses.
Is it possible to go back to the mapper? I was thinking if you could name that other card details to other card request. That would be.
There'll be here you're saying.
Line 18.
Okay, Aadhaar card details, actual object we'll see. Yeah, I was just trying to see if we can actually do without that in some cases. We'll see, we'll come back and do that. I just wanted to see. Okay, so now we go to the controller. What do we need to implement? We need to implement post create other for a user. So we'll add post mapping, and we'll just copy one of the method definition. So here we are creating a user inside a company. This is like similar example. So I'll just copy this as an example.
User ID and then Aadhaar.
I'll remove other things. What was our route like? Users ID Aadhaar. So users slash ID slash Aadhaar, right? And we are creating Aadhaar. Is it double A or single A? Double A, no?
Remove one A. That
Oh.
is a triple A. Right now.
What did I give to? Where? Double A only, no? Oh, okay. Yeah. It's confusing. Okay. So you're taking the ID of the user. We'll name this as user ID. And instead of user request, we need Aadhaar request. Aadhaar request. And I think well done right now. Let's remove. Let's add that later. Need to. Yeah. So now we need to create the Aadhaar. So to create the. Okay. To
First
add
use method.
mapper, we'll have to convert. Okay. Mapper will also will have to inject here. So not inject, but Aadhaar mapper. Aadhaar mapper equal to mapper dot instance. So Aadhaar mapper dot Aadhaar request to Aadhaar, right? Aadhaar repository dot save.
Yeah, take that variable.
Okay, we'll have to take this into a variable. So this is also another nice trick, guys. Like if you have some line and you want to take the result into some variable, right? What you can do is in the same line you can press Ctrl Alt V. So that will introduce a variable from this thing.
Control Alt V.
Control Alt V, yeah. Just do it again so it's properly. Okay, it's kind of hiding this, but it's Control Alt V, yeah. So Aadhaar card details, and we are saving it to the repository. But I'm not sure whether saving this will directly work, because we have to associate the user to this thing, right, which we are not doing.
Yeah. Now right now set.
So we need to, and we cannot set the user ID, right? We need to find the existing user first and set that user on the Aadhaar card.
Yes.
So we will also have to take dependency on user service, which
Yes,
we user service, and okay, we'll find user service dot user by ID, user ID, user, and to Aadhaar card details we'll have to set the user.
Here,
Yeah, Nish.
if we move line number 35,
Okay. That will not work, no, because you have not even declared the other
I
card
think it
details.
will add it as part of the other card object.
okay, got it.
Yeah. So we save it, and then like whatever is the saved object, right? We just take that and we convert it to a response object. So other mapper. We'll have to return a response entity. So return new of response entity. Other mapper dot other to other response. Yeah, so saved other. Then we'll send the response code as HTTP status dot.
You don't need to pass the HTTP as a parameter. You can find the status using the annotation also.
How do we do that?
You just use line number 33.
Okay, here you are seeing.
Yeah.
Here inside
Enter.
this. Acha, new one
Enter.
here.
Yeah. Annotation HTTP.
HTTP.
HTTP. Just search status. Wait, I'm sending you.
Okay. Yeah. Meantime, I'll just try this out. Start API.
It's response status, not HTTP.
Okay, we'll try it out. Response status is it?
Response.
Response state. Okay.
Pass.
The same thing I think in pass here.
Yeah, same thing.
Okay, then what happens?
That will be created.
What are you saying, Marzi?
So that will be HTTP dot created.
HTTP dot created, yeah, right. And I think Anuj, we can just directly return this, right? We don't even need
Yes.
response entity, right?
Yes.
So we just return other response. Okay, I think this is a nice one. This saves us like some little bit of code. Okay. Okay, cool. We'll try this out. Okay, so yeah, let's try this out from our Swagger thing. Let it go here. Okay, so this other is under users, right? So other controller, yeah. So let's try it out.
Take the user ID.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll use this one. Copy the ID and we'll give Aadhaar number.
150.
I'll just give 1234 here for now. So if we see what is happening, it's saying fail to read request. Okay. It is sending users ID and Aadhaar. Okay, I think the problem, I mean, oh no, you're taking UID only. Okay, we'll have to see on the terminal. It is saying
Can't deserialize.
can't deserialize Aadhaar request, no delegate or property based constructor creator. Okay, I don't know why. Using data and builder, and we are giving Aadhaar number only here, right? Yeah. Call X Aadhaar number is the data, content type application JSON.
Are we getting the request body?
Check. Go back to controller.
Mm-hmm. We are using request body, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
What is going wrong?
Deserialize generally happen in the line number and
Okay.
request.
It is saying JSON. It is saying JSON parse error, cannot construct instance of Aadhaar request, cannot deserialize from object value. I don't know. Let's
Go back to Aadhaar request.
Aadhaar request. Okay. Okay. I just copied it.
Go back to Aadhaar table.
Oh, you think there are some missing this thing?
Yeah.
Aadhaar database entity, where is it? Aadhaar card details, okay.
Aadhaar card detail correct. Aadhaar number correct.
So ID is there, user is there, Aadhaar number is there, created at updated is there. I'm not sure if we have to ignore some of the things. Did we do it in employee request or somewhere else? No, right? Employee requested employee, and what is employee like? There is a company created at all these things. But in employee mapper, are we doing anything specific? No. So it is not a mapper issue, right? It's like here itself, it's like kind of failing here only. That's what it looks
Yes,
like.
yes.
Who is giving this exception handler option? Okay. Aadhaar request. TTP status created.
Check what is coming in Aadhaar request.
Okay. Like here, breakpoint you want to put?
Breakpoint, yeah.
Okay. So we'll have to stop this. And we'll have to start from here. So if you want to debug, right, what we can do is we can start the application from the main thing, demo application.java. In IntelliJ we'll get this option to debug the app. We'll just use that. It'll start in a few seconds, I think. Okay, starting it up. Okay, so if you execute, it's not even coming here. So it's going before that itself, it's failing. So we can't like debug. Framework itself is rejecting this. It's not able to convert the JSON to this actual class. I think we might be missing something, I'm not sure. Employee request.
Something.
Employee request, we added data and builder. Here also the same thing, data and builder. You don't need no args and all, because I think automatically data is for that only. Lombok if you. I think the same problem we were facing in some other thing also that day also I remember. Let's figure this out. That time we just removed this data and builder and we used that plain for to do if you remember, no? To do request, I think we have done the same. Or no, we had done no args and all args probably. Maybe this will help. We'll see.
Right.
What was this called? Aadhar. Okay, restart this.
Just check the key value, key name.
Where? Swaggy.
Aadhaar spelling name.
Aadhar number is there. I think I'd copied from there only. Aadhar entity or the Aadhar card details. Same only. Yeah. Let's try now. Let's see. Oh, this time it worked. Okay, that is weird. I think some change we have made that is kind of screwing it up. Okay, so at least this thing is coming. So now let's see. We can run this code and see. Where did it go? I'll just continue from here. Okay. What happened? It gave some error, I think, saying cannot invoke user by ID because this user.service is null. So it is not injecting that user service properly. This required args constructor.
Huh?
No, because 1 second, we are using user service. Okay. It is kind of weird. It's saying never assigned, and yeah, user service, that's what it's saying. This cannot call this because user service is null.
You mean require args constructor?
Not working, yeah. I think, okay.
Give the final.
Acha, using give final, na? Okay, that might
Yeah.
be true. Okay,
Rerun.
yeah. Okay. Continue from here. Let's see. Oh, okay, now it's working. I think that is working. But saying ID for this class must be manually assigned before calling save on other. We have not assigned ID to this guy. No? That's why. So Aadhar card details dot set ID UID dot random UID. I think this is also the same problem, maybe, no? That final thing only in request also. Like maybe we need to give this as final field. Then
Yeah.
maybe I'll just comment this out. We'll see.
It's working.
Uh,
Okay, got it.
what is it?
Actually, if you define the final,
Huh.
then that will not create a file constructor for that one.
Okay.
That's why, yeah, I actually, I was reading this one. What is the difference between required task or constructor?
Okay.
How it behave in case of final and static? Not null.
Okay.
This will behave differently for final, static, and not null
Okay.
key.
Mhm.
Generally, made mistake
Okay,
in
now.
such scenario.
Okay, actually that thing now, that request is still not working. If you, even if I give final, right, still cribbing about the constructor thing.
Remove final.
Final is not having any impact, right? So that we can remove. I think we'll see. I think we'll need to go a little deep into this to understand. We'll do it in like separately. I think after this.
Yeah.
Let's stop this and restart this. It's building it. Okay.
Now it should run.
Hmm. Okay. So yeah, it is. I think it is doing it. We'll check. So here, if we see, it is returning a new other object. We'll check in the database. One second. Select all from Aadhaar card details. Yeah, so it is creating a new one, right? And it is linking it to a user.
Now next scenario will be get Aadhaar.
Okay. So what is that doing? Get Aadhaar for a specific user.
I'm thinking we should try that out ourselves since we already
Yeah.
have an example of get user.
Yeah. You guys want to try it yourself, right?
Yeah, we should do
Cool. Okay, is there anything else that will be? But we can relationships. Okay, do you guys want to continue now, or maybe we can? No, I'm okay to continue for now. We can cover other relationships as well. So this was the one-to-one. We can. Yeah, Arjun.
एक बार हम लोग ट्राई करते लाइक कुछ डाउट आते थे पूछते थे मे बी लाइक बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग
Okay, so what will? But let's at least identify what all relations we have in this. So this was one-to-one. Now this is users to address. This is one-to-many, right?
Yes.
And then there is many-to-many also for users and roles. So that also you guys can try out one-to-many and many-to-many by yourself. Okay, so till yeah, you guys start on this. Like I think first though you will have to do this, right? Get and post and all this. Don't use the existing ones. Use the new ones only. I mean, you write it yourself only. Maybe write a new controller and try to understand like completely from scratch. Okay. And then what else is there? One-to-one, many-to-many.
I think the one to many, I think it's when retrieving a user, we should also try to attach the Aadhaar
Mm-hmm.
to the user while retrieving the user. I think that has to do with one-to-one relationship. One-to-one relationship.
Sorry, I didn't get Mercy. What are you saying?
In getting a user, we are supposed to attach the Aadhaar to the user. Correct?
Okay. You're saying while we get the user.
Yes, you are supposed to get the Aadhaar too.
Mm-hmm.
So we can also try to
Yeah.
do the implementation of the one-to-one relationship there.
Yup. You guys can try it out yourself, right? Or you want me to show that? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, I wanted you to solve that because that's the one-to-one relationship we wanted to handle, right?
Okay, so that will be the full thing of one-to-one relationship you're saying.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, so we have created the one. So here there is one where you get the other for a specific user, but you are also saying that when we retrieve a single user, that time also we should be returning a other. Right? Yeah. So that we can cover now. I think that's a small one only. We can probably end at that. I think that will be the last thing we'll do today.
So for that one,
Mhm.
Hiren,
Yeah.
we need to add a GTO, na?
Yeah, let's see. So what we want to change, what Marcy is saying is in the user controller, in user response, do we have a get user? We do, right? Single user is
Yeah,
there.
we have.
So in user response, we need to return Aadhaar as well. So
Yes.
we need to return that Aadhaar response. So
Yeah.
here you need to write Aadhaar response, Aadhaar card details also we can say. Today I think I gave some mistake. Yeah, Aadhaar card details. Now if we just return this, will it automatically return this? Let's see. So in user, but we have not given, like we have not, what we did is in the Aadhaar card details entity, we declared this one-to-one mapping, right?
Yes.
But on the inverse side, we have not declared that, like user.
Yeah, we need to declare, yeah.
Yeah, right. So I think same thing, but we just need to copy and so we'll put it here. Let's see what all is there. So there are lots of other things. Okay, we'll put it at the last thing. Okay. So one-to-one.
that will be Aadhaar.
Yeah. So Aadhaar card details. Aadhaar.
That's
Okay. Okay. That's it. Okay. So okay, let's try it out now. Okay. So this was for this user. I just copy that user ID. So where is user, single user? Here. Try it out. Execute. Okay. So it's kind of failing. Okay, and here we cannot, like, this is pretty ugly to see, so we'll just see on this terminal. It's saying user dot Aadhaar card details does not exist. Column u1 dot Aadhaar card details ID does not exist.
Okay.
So I think we need to declare here, right, that map by thing that we have been doing.
Yeah.
So here we need
Map
to.
by Aadhaar.
So whatever we basically in map by, what we I think we need to give is in the Aadhaar entity, Aadhaar card details, whatever is the name we have given here, right? I think we need to give that. So map by user, that itself. I think this should work. So we are saying that it is mapped by user inside this thing, like how it's connecting basically. Let's try it out. I'm also not very sure since like it has been a long time I've tried Spring Boot. Let's see. Just 1 second, guys. Okay. Just reply. Okay, so okay, what do we need to try it out? Okay. User ID will have to give. No? One second. I
No,
think this
ID
was not the one, right? I'm trying the wrong one.
No, by user ID.
It's already there. Okay. Okay, so now this is returning Aadhaar card details if you see here, right?
Interesting. Yeah.
So what, to just go back to this, what we did was in the user entity we added the inverse mapping 1-to-1, and here we said we just wrote this Aadhaar card details, we just included that, and here we say map by. So this means that mapping information basically we can say that you can get from here. So here it's saying 1-to-1 to user. So we are saying whatever is the property name here, right? That's basically what we are referring to. So if you change this property name to something else, let's say user details, you will have to change this as well.
Okay.
So it is,
Hiren,
yeah.
what if I want from Aadhaar card details, then we need to use map by there also.
What if you want user from Aadhaar, you are saying?
Yeah.
Okay. I think let's try it out and see. I think that should be pretty quick, no? We'll just try it
That'll
out.
be the other way around. Isn't it?
Yeah. He's saying like getting
Getting the user from the
yeah. Sorry, which 1 second. What are you saying, Anuj? Acha. No. So actually, this will also tell us now. In here also we are returning the response. What do you? Acha, you want to say?
I'm telling you, copy only 26 to 27.
Okay. Get mapping. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And change to OK. Created OK.
But you don't need this, no? Like you already have the Aadhaar ID, so you can just give that, right?
Okay, okay, yeah.
So we can do Aadhaar and its ID.
I was thinking we'll try this out ourselves. We will get the Pada
Uh-huh.
user also.
I think in our
Rather get
assignment,
the-
right?
Get the user from the Pada.
Yeah, here it was get Aadhaar for a specific user. I think this was a different one. This is a different one. What we are trying is different. Here they are saying by user ID get the Aadhaar. Here we are just directly getting the Aadhaar using Aadhaar ID. So I think that's little different probably. We'll try it out. So Anuj, what was your question? Like in Aadhaar, you also want to return the user, right? In the Aadhaar response. Like right now, we are not returning anything about user. Is that what you're asking, Anuj? Hello.
Yeah, exactly. So I was saying we should do that one also, because we number one will get the Ada by the Ada ID,
Mhm.
and we can also attach the user while we are getting the Ada by the Ada ID.
Okay. Is Anuj there in the call? Did he drop off? Anuj, are you there? Okay. Okay, I think I'm not sure. Okay, I think you guys can actually try it out. Yeah, I think that's a good idea actually, Mercy. You guys try this out. Just ping me if you guys are stuck anywhere, right? Like just let's just try to like implement this quickly, since we are kind of now we'll have to actually the project will be like starting in few days now. That's what Praveen was saying. So we need to ramp this up a little bit. The speed we need to increase the speed a little bit. So you guys try it out. Just keep pinging me if you guys get stuck anywhere. We'll pair on that. Don't try. Yeah. Don't spend like too much time. Like if you're stuck, and you can spend like 30 minutes maybe in figuring out. But if you're not able to figure out, just ping me. I'll post this. Yeah. Okay, guys. All right. I'm ending the recording. Yeah. Bye.
Hello.
Yeah. 1 second, Anuj.